What would you do if your spouse is not on board with you as far as your prepping, your preparedness, your homesteading? What would you do? And that's a dang good question. And you know, I have had some experience with it. I have been married more than once, um, and so I have been around it and dealt with it through several occasions. But I mean, it's what I would like to do is just kind of do a an overview. And these people emailed me and they said, what would you do? And there were like two that were women or ladies who said, my husband's not on board with it. What would I do? And then there was like a guy, and he said, my wife's not on board with it. And, what would I do? And I will say, you can email any questions to mayhemcountryliving@gmail.com. That's where you can really send all the information to me as far as specifics if you have questions about the channel and just prepping and stuff like that. I have one other email, but it's mainly work based. And I tell you the truth, unless you talk to me about how much you're going to pay me, I don't even really look at it. So that's my work email. But this one, mayhemcountryliving@gmail.com, guys, send me whatever you want, um, and I'll try to respond to you about that. But this is what I know. I've been married several times, and I have dealt with quite a few women in my life. It's not bragging, it's more of an embarrassment and a confession than a brag. And I can speak to you about that aspect of it and a little bit about the other, how a man feels. Now, let's address the first part. Um, if your wife is not on board with your prepping, it's tough because that's your household, and you don't split your household. So, um, one of the things you would need to bear in mind, gentlemen, if you are out there, is to think that your wife, your lover, your woman, whomever is your partner, is concerned about the home, the health, the security of the household. Maybe I need to preface everything by saying my wife and I are very traditional. I go out and I work in commercial industry, um, and my wife takes care of the household. So we are very, very traditional. And no, we're not Mennonite or Amish or anything like that, but this is how we do it, and this is how it is, and she's happy, and I'm happy, and by God, this is how we're going to do it. If you don't like it, I don't care. The way it is. But when a man talks to his wife and says, "Hey, sweetie, it looks like some crazy stuff is going to be happening. Maybe we should start setting aside some stuff and do this and this and this, and maybe we should buy a bunch of guns, a bunch of bullets." It's powerful. This is what the woman thinks. She takes care of her family and her household. And if you think it's racist or actually sexist or anything like that, I don't give a shit. Absolutely, yes, it is. But it's what we do. But she thinks about her household and her family and her circle and what is in her household and what is good and how she's taking care of her family. And she thinks that I have this in this circle. He's talking about something over here. And I don't like it over here because it's not natural to me. I'm not used to it, and it makes me uncomfortable. And so she balks. And she says, well, maybe we shouldn't do it like this. Maybe you should just not spend so much money doing this and this and this and this. And you know what? She's absolutely right. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should learn how to communicate. Gentlemen, you don't love me. I don't care. It's okay. Conversely, there are a lot of lady preppers, women preppers, who take care of their households, and they look and see the things that are going on, and they say to themselves, oh my, I need to take care of this and situate myself where my family, my circle is taken care of. And she thinks about it this way. And then when she thinks about it this way, and she begins to do her things, and then she talks to her husband about it, and this is basic, natural. And the husband, she talks to him about it, and she says, I'm concerned about things that are going on. Maybe we should do this and this. Maybe we should talk to some people who are in groups, mags, mutual aid groups, and look at what we can do. And then the husband, riles up, and he thinks, she thinks that I can't take care of her, regardless of whatever. And then the man says, oh, no, that's absolutely crap. That's just crazy stuff. You're talking a bunch of junk. You don't know what you're talking about. Woman, just get in there and do this and this. Gosh, that's terrible. Because you've just lost the biggest asset that you have, gentlemen. That's terrible. I would rather have my wife, the hooch, you've met her and you've seen her on a bunch of videos with me, than any 5 trained operators, blah, 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 high speed and low drag crap. I don't give a shit about that. I'd rather have her with me than anybody else. And we work very, very well together. But we know what we need to do in our places and everything like that. Who's the better? Who's the stronger? Neither. That's silly. Neither one. Because separate we're halves. Together, you're complete. Together, actually, you're probably 2. Because you help and asset each other's weaknesses. But more to come, guys. Okay, guys, now we're back. But I just wanted you to know that there's an absolute primal reaction when a woman says to her significant other, maybe we should do this. And he balks and he says, well, blah, blah, blah. And he's a dumbass for saying it. And then when the man says this to the woman, well, we should do this because blah, 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 blah. And she's a dumbass for saying any kind of response back to him at that point, too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into play when you are merging 2 minds, especially around the concept of preparing for an unknown event. I mean, it really is. It's maybe at some point we need to have the hooch's perspective on the crazy stuff that I do. That might be a little bit more light shedding on the situation, because I do some crazy stuff, and she she kind of keeps me in check. She says, you know, "Oh, cowboy, do you think we really need to get 5,000 5,000 tablets of Benadryl off of eBay?" I did that. Yeah, I actually did that. They're like 4 big bottles. But I don't know, guys. I'm not the best at this, but I'd had a lot of people who had asked me about this, and I did want to just touch base. And like I said, there's so many things we could talk about as far as how to do it and what not to do, and take my life as a template, and what I do absolutely the opposite, because my life up until I met the hooch was a damn train wreck. Well, it is, and I'm honest about it. More to come. Okay, guys, now we're back, and I guess we're going to wrap it up for this video. In just a second, you're going to see a picture of my ugly mug pop over here, as well as my beautiful wife on the opposite side. There's going to be some videos. If we are indeed your brand of wacky, guys, I would ask you to think about the person that you're supposed to take care of. And then I'd ask you to take care of them.